Welcome to Scrum Masters Elite _UK. Explore strategy, patience, discipline. Register now.
In the first 40 minutes, I genuinely felt that Leinster was being drawn into a game that wasn't theirs. Sale Sharks' defence was resilient, disciplined, and barely left any significant gaps. It reminded me of moments in life when we try very hard, but results don't come immediately. At that point, Leinster felt like someone blocked by an invisible wall, not because they were weak, but because their opponent was performing exceptionally well. But this is precisely where the difference began to emerge. Instead of panicking or trying to break the system hastily, Leinster remained patient. They didn't play overly flashy rugby, they switched to a more pragmatic approach, applying pressure, stretching the defence, and waiting for mistakes. This made me realize a very clear lesson: comprehensiveness isn't always the key. Sometimes, discipline and persistence are what ultimately decide success. The second half was the clearest evidence of this. The gaps that had barely existed earlier began to appear, and Leinster, like a team prepared for this moment, exploited them ruthlessly.
This wasn't luck, it was the result of sustained pressure, forcing the opponent to make errors. And I think that, in life, many opportunities are actually created in exactly the same way. One of the things that impressed me deeply was Hugo Keenan's comeback. After 7 months away, he didn't just return, he immediately made an impact. This speaks not only to his professional skill but also to an element we sometimes undervalue: preparation in silence. No one returns that strong without months of work away from the spotlight. Looking at Keenan, I saw not just a point scorer, but a symbol of stability. In a world that constantly celebrates explosive moments, stability is often the hardest to maintain. It made me wonder, in my own life, am I trying to be the brightest star, or the most reliable presence? Baird gave me a similar impression, but from a different angle. He contributed not only through scoring but also in contests, defense, and movements that aren't always noticed. This made me think about the value of quiet contributions.
Not everyone is the game-winning scorer, but every link matters. Then there was Dan Sheehan, the best player of the match, who perfectly exemplified comprehensiveness. What impressed me wasn't just his assist or try, but how he appeared in every critical moment of the game. He didn't just excel in one role, he adapted and influenced the entire flow. He represents someone not limited by a position, but always seeking to expand their value. On the other side, Sale Sharks are by no means a weak team. And it showed. Rugby team RC White played with tremendous effort, breaking through more defenders than anyone else in the match, demonstrating a fighting spirit that never surrenders. This reminded me of a fair but harsh truth: effort alone doesn't always guarantee victory, but without it, failure is certain. Asher Opoku-Forjaw was another standout, especially considering his age and the pressure he faced. That he could stand firm against a strong team like Leinster shows immense potential. But also reminds us that the path ahead is still long. Talent can give you opportunity, but only continuous development keeps you there. However, what made me reflect the most were the weaknesses, particularly Leinster's attacking issues.
Even in victory, they revealed gaps that could be exploited in the future. This mirrors life: winning doesn't mean perfection. If we focus only on results and ignore problems, we risk paying for it later. The observed dip in confidence during set-piece situations was also notable. Confidence, once lost, cannot be regained through words alone. It requires time, adjustment, and sometimes systemic change. This made me think about how we often try to fix surface errors while overlooking the root causes. This connects to any field: support isn't automatic. It must be maintained, nurtured, and sometimes earned again through experience. For Sale, the defeat wasn't only due to a stronger opponent but also to their own mistakes, particularly penalties at critical moments. This is a very clear lesson: in tight contests, discipline can be as important as skill. One moment of loss of control can undo hours of effort. For me personally, the greatest lesson is this: success doesn't come from having no weaknesses, but from understanding your weaknesses and not letting them dictate outcomes. For fans, this match reminds us that behind every victory are countless small details and unseen efforts. And for all of us, it demonstrates that in any field, patience, discipline, and adaptability are always fundamental.
Farewell from Scrum Masters Elite _UK. Patience, discipline, adaptability. Success comes from the most persistent efforts.